Welcome back. Amanda from the Happy Homestead here. It is really early in the morning here. My kids are still asleep and I just wanted to share what we're doing in the garden this year. So this is kind of like a part 2 from last week's video where we talked about what our goals were as far as food storage and within our pantry and our freezers. And so really now it's like that's the plan, that's the goal, right? How do we execute? How do we get there? And so I wanted to share with you how we are doing things this year within the garden and just within the local community as far as farms and whatnot to get everything we need to take us through until the next season. So I'm going to break this up into different categories, really like the meat products, the dairy, the produce, and then the pantry staple items. So 4 different categories. So let's start with the animal products. As I had mentioned previously, I think in a couple of videos ago, we purchased a quarter of a cow from a local farm that does really strict permaculture practices, and all of their cows are grass grazed. They use rotational grazing. They're doing it the right way. And I'm going to link them down below in the show notes because I want them to get all of the praise and publicity. And they're local here in the North Carolina area within the Raleigh-Durham area. So if you live around here or you're willing to make a drive, check them out. So we have just a few cuts of beef left from that quarter cow that we purchased a year ago. It's so awesome. I love it. We have not purchased beef in the store at all. I have to really think about that, but we haven't. We have it in our freezer and we've had it for a year. And so hallelujah, I'm never buying meat in the store again unless I absolutely have to in that regard. It's been such a blessing. And we actually got meat from one, like it was a promotion. I have to share this. It was a promotion from one of those big mail order meat boxes, and we had like a coupon that someone gave us or a promotional code that someone gave us, and so we got some ground beef. And side by side, because I did a comparison, I was floored, honestly, because the ground beef that we get from our local farm here that pastures their cows, the meat was this beautiful deep red, rich color. It was, you could just tell it was better. And then the other one, which claimed to also be grass-fed and organic and whatnot from the big mail order company, it was like this pink with white. I'm guessing that was the fat, but it just, there was no deep red. Honestly, I couldn't believe it looking at it directly together. So never again. Local farms for the win. We are purchasing a half of a cow this year. In fact, our pickup, I think, is in like 5 or 6 weeks. I mean, so it's coming up. We're purchasing more this year, and we plan to have that take us 18 months at least, maybe more than that. So we purchased the quarter cow last year at $6 a pound. Think about that. That is so cheap. And then this year, our half a cow at $6.50 a pound. It did go up a little bit. That's okay. I'd be surprised if it hadn't. It's still a great deal, right? So think about where you can go buy any kind of piece of cut of beef. It doesn't matter if it's ground beef or filet mignon, $6.50 a pound. That's why it's so economical. So that is going to be all of our beef needs. We also purchased a hog last year from a local farm. This farm is more in the Greensboro area. Again, I'll link them below. Fantastic family farm. My mom and I went and visited the farm, got to see a lot of the pigs, played with them a little bit, and got to see like how they're living. And they really are being pastured, and they're foraging, and they're in the woods, and they're eating all of things they should be, and they're doing piggy things. They're living a piggy life as they should. And so we bought a hog from them. And we are down to a few of the ground pork packages, which I use to make our own homemade breakfast or Italian sausage. And then we have, I think, 3 cuts left of like a pork shoulder or a pork butt to use for barbecue. So we're almost out of the pig as well. And that order, we're not ordering another one until June. So a little bit of ways away. But again, that $4.50 a pound. Are you seeing a trend here? When you buy direct from the farmer and you're buying it in a larger quantity, you get that price break. And you're doing it from the farms that are raising their animals humanely and in the right way. Chickens. Again, I'll post them down below. This farm is, I think, in the Chapel Hill area of North Carolina, and they do it right too. They are amazing. We've been purchasing chickens from them, I think, for 2 years now. And I order maybe 10 to 12 at a time. And I also get some chicken backs and chicken feet to use to make our own bone broth also. And so we have them in our freezer. I will make another chicken order this year. I just don't know when yet. We still have a handful left. We only go through maybe 2 chickens a month. We don't go through that much. But one chicken will last probably 3 or 4 meals. So it really kind of helps stretch it in that way. So again, we buy chickens directly from the farmer. My husband hunts deer and he hunts turkey. And we do get our Thanksgiving turkey from the same farm we get our chickens from. So I'm telling you this so that you can start looking locally in your community. See where you can go and give your business to the local farms that are doing the right thing, the right permaculture practices, that are raising the animals in the right way, and skip the store. Okay, so what's next? Dairy. We don't do a whole lot of milk. I was gonna say dairy, but that's not true. Milk. We don't drink a lot of milk. There is a local farm that's about 30 minutes from here that we have purchased a lot of our raw milk from, and that's where I've used milk to make cheeses and whatnot that we have in our cheese cave, and also where we get our eggs. Eggs are probably the easiest thing. If you're gonna start with one thing to go locally, start with the eggs. Because there are so many, even backyard chicken farmers, right? Even your neighbor may have chickens and they have a surplus of eggs. So look locally for eggs. It is probably one of the easiest things to source from your community. So we get our eggs there, and whenever we need milk, we get our milk there. Cheese, I do make some cheese, but I'm not that good of a cheese maker to handle all of our cheese needs. So we actually buy a lot of our bulk cheese from Azure Standard. And if you're not familiar with Azure Standard, click above and you can learn all about them. And if you use my referral code or my referral link, you actually get $25 off your first order. And so we buy a lot of our cheese there. I buy the Parmesan in like 1 gallon buckets, feta, cheddar, mozzarella, I think that's it. And I buy the cheddar and the mozzarella in these big 5 or 6 pound blocks. And then I slice it into smaller blocks, maybe 1 pound each, vacuum seal them and freeze them, and then just take out 1 block at a time as I need it. And it lasts a long time, a much longer time that way, rather than having to go to the store. And it's cheaper, and you're buying a much more qualitative product. Once again. So most of the cheeses we get from Azure, I will also get heavy cream from Azure. We go through maybe 10 little things of heavy cream in a year. We don't do that much heavy cream, but I like to have that in the freezer for when I need it too. So we'll get that from Azure. So it's really the eggs and the milk we'll get locally, and then the cheeses and the cream we get from Azure Standard. Butter. Cannot live without butter. If you've seen any of my Azure Standard videos, you see that we get the Rumiano butter, the unsalted from pastured cows. It is the best butter. It really is. They also have a Sierra Nevada brand butter that is fantastic too. You couldn't go wrong with either one. And in our next order, I'm getting a lot of butter, and we keep it in the freezer. And again, we just pull 1 out at a time as we need it, and it works. So this is just a sampling of the seeds I have started so far. These are tomato plants. There's 6 of them here, as you can see, but I have 45 tomato plants that we started because tomatoes are just one of our favorites, right? So you can do so many things with them. So we have a variety of slicing tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and then of course, paste tomatoes to make sauce. So we have 45 of these suckers that we plan to plant here in our backyard as well as at the property, and hopefully we get a good tomato harvest. These are all peppers. lots of peppers. There's hot peppers, there's sweet peppers, and then these two plants, these seeds didn't germinate, these three, but these two on the end did, this whole row of 5. This is the toothache plant. So we're also trying to do some medicinal herbs and flowers this year, which is what this tray is. We've got nasturtium, which is really good. You can eat the flowers and the leaves. And if you get some of the flower buds in a small stage, you can pickle them like capers. So we've got a bunch of nasturtium here. This is yarrow, marshmallow, echinacea, feverfew, and then these two last here are calendula. So I have a lot more calendula seeds I need to try and get in there because not all of them actually germinated. But we're doing a huge medicinal garden as well this year. And then in here there are more peppers. Eggplant, we've got about 8 eggplant plants. Look at these starts. I'm so happy with how these starts look. So we've got eggplant, a couple more peppers and tomatillos, and then cucumbers. These big guys are cucumbers. A lot of those starts are really starting to outgrow their cells. And so I've got a delivery coming today for some bigger cells because I ran out of these pots. I've been using these for years and I ran out using them all on my tomatoes. So I'm going to transplant a lot of these into some bigger cells. Now, why am I showing you this? Well, this is how we're hoping to satisfy our needs with our produce, right? Like the summer garden produce, the tomatoes, the peppers, the cucumbers, eggplant, tomatillos, some of the herbs. I already have dill and Thai basil growing as well. You do not need to start your own seeds though. If you do, good for you. It's exciting. And if you don't, that's okay. Get your plants at a local nursery. But starting some sort of garden this year, I would love to be a goal for everybody. You don't have to have a lot of land. You don't even have to have a backyard. You can grow a tomato plant in a pot, on a porch, or in your kitchen in a window. Just try to think beyond your own limitations. Our own limitations in our mind are always our biggest setback. So get rid of the limitations and think about what you can do and grow something. So we're not just doing peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, right? Every January, February, I start to get really antsy and I make a list of all of the things I want to grow. So beyond what I've already shown you and talked about, we're going to be doing beans. I've got some trilogy green beans here. The trilogy means that some of the beans are green, some of the beans are yellow, some of the beans are purple, all on one plant. I'm excited to try that. That's a new one for me. But we're doing a lot of green beans this year because I want canned green beans and I also want to freeze and vacuum seal some also. We are doing summer squash. We're going to do like a scallop squash, rampiante, and then which is like a really big zucchini, and then another Italian variety. We're doing all kinds of herbs. Like I'd mentioned, we've got the toothache plant, we've got Thai basil and dill already. And then the other herbs like parsley, basil, oregano, mine all died. So I do need to buy more and I'm gonna get some from a local nursery this spring. We're also going to be doing winter squash. I have not started the summer or winter squash seeds yet. I'll probably do that in another month or so once all of these are out in the garden. But we're gonna do a crookneck, and which is a kind of like a butternut, another butternut variety, delicata, which is new for us, and then a couple other a variety of pumpkin varieties. And then lastly, I do have garlic already in the ground. You saw me plant the onions about a month or so ago. We're also gonna do some carrots. I've got carrots here. This is the Bolero variety from Johnny's, and it's like a storage carrot, so it's supposed to be really good for storage over the winter. We're also gonna do a variety of beets. There's one more thing I wanna show you in regards to produce, and we're growing a lot of our kale and our lettuces out in the backyard right now. I probably have anywhere between 25 to 35 lettuce heads out there that will hopefully mature over the next month or two before it starts to get really hot and we can have the most beautiful lettuces for salads. But this is something I wanted to show you. I buy romaine heads from the grocery store from time to time. Well, I cut, you basically cut the end off, right, when you're chopping your romaine head, and I put them in water. Look at that. Look at that. Do you see that? I have 5 of these and they all have started to sprout. I just change the water every couple of days. I'll show you the other one here. And I put them, you can put them either in your window or if you have a grow light, under a grow light. This is the most recent one I put in, so it's a little bit smaller. They are growing. And I am really excited. I've never really tried that before, so this is kind of an experiment for me to see how big they can get. And at some point, I am going to put them out in the garden so they can really grow. So last but not least are the dry pantry items, the beans, the legumes, the grains. We purchase 99% of that stuff from Azure Standard. Again, click the referral link, get $25 off your first order if you haven't already done so, and you will be so happy you did. With how things are going as far as fuel prices and just in general uncertainty in the world. I feel like uncertainty is always in the world now, but we are having a really large, like our largest order yet. Like this is the most money I've spent coming in a couple of weeks from Azure. And I am buying 25-pound bags of hard white wheat, hard red wheat, soft white wheat, spelt, sugar, oats, right? So all of those grains. We're also buying rice. What else do we have? Barley, lentils, beans, black beans. I have a lot of beans, but black beans I'm almost out of. Quinoa. All of those shelf-stable grains and pantry items we buy from Azure, and I keep them in our pantry with a back stock in a 5-gallon bucket with a gamma lid. And when I get that order, I'm gonna show you all of that, show you what we've purchased and how we store it. But it makes a huge difference with our wallet and our budget because now I'm not going to the grocery store every week or every other week to buy those pantry items. Oh, and flour. We buy our flour from Azure. I'm buying einkorn all-purpose as well as regular all-purpose. So I think that covers everything as far as the different categories. Now, of course, we still have to go to the store from time to time. We love fresh produce and we don't have the ability to grow all of our produce needs at any point in time of the year. So we go buy avocados, we go buy bananas. We have apples still from our December order in Azure, but we've run out of all citrus, so I'm sure I'll be purchasing some citrus soon. So there are things that we do have to go buy, but the whole point is to minimize those purchases as much as possible and save money. Okay, that's it. So what are the takeaways? Grow something. Grow something for yourself and for your family. You pick what it is. Grow something you like. Don't grow something because it's easy but you don't like it. Grow something you like and start. Also, start with eggs. Find someone in your community that has eggs. There are local farms nearby, no doubt. Backyard farmers. Someone has a surplus and would be happy to sell them to you. Find someone with your meat, your chickens, your beef, your pork, whatever the case may be that you eat. Find someone local, a farm that does the right thing. Go to the farm, visit it, ask to see their practices, learn all about it so that you feel comfortable with what you're doing. And last but not least, check out Azure Standard. Maybe that's a good fit for you where you can get a lot of your dry bulk goods at a lower price too. Over these next few months, you're gonna see me implement this plan, right? We have our goal, we have our plan for execution here. I gotta get these in the ground. We gotta start growing and then we gotta start preserving. So thanks for joining me on this journey. I wanna hear what you're growing. What are you doing? What are your goals for you and your family? Thank you for your support. Don't forget to hit subscribe and I'll see you next time.